And good evening, everybody. Welcome into another edition of the Hockey Night on Board Flyers pregame show. As tonight, the Philadelphia Flyers take on the Washington Capitals as they meet up for the fourth time this season and close out their season series here tonight, or the fourth game of the fourth out of the fifth meetings, and they'll close out, I believe, their last meeting in Washington tonight here at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. And a very good evening, everybody. I'm your host, James Scorza, with you for the next 15 minutes or so. As for the Flyers is concerned, man, it's been a rough couple days for the Philadelphia Flyers as of lately. They have not been playing very, very well. But the problem is that everybody wants to talk about what happened in the last previous games. So I guess we can just rip the Band-Aid off and try to do whatever we can to make it happen. The last time I seen you guys on these airwaves, it was on Saturday night. That was around the time the Flyers were taking on the Hurricanes. And I said this was actually going to be a real tall task here for the Flyers to climb back from, obviously coming back after a very good game against the Tampa Bay Lightning on the previous matchup last Thursday. And to me, the Flyers, this is something that, I'm not going to be recapping every goal from these last two games, but let's just try to address the elephant in the room before we drive ourselves crazy here. But it looks to me the Flyers are just one step closer to just looking like they're just basically saying the season is a wrap. I think the one thing they're just trying to do is get ready for what could be in the upcoming draft, what they're going to look like, because they have 7 picks in the matter of the first 2 rounds in those last couple games. But speaking of another 7, I will talk about in my key matchups of the game, and this will actually kind of surprise everybody here who are Flyers fans, but actually probably will surprise people, but I actually probably would see it coming. But yeah, the first game on that Saturday was really was an eventful night for all of us here in the South Philadelphia area, seeing the Flyers not play very well. I think the one thing that was really the key recap of the previous game is that it looked to me the Flyers that just lost a step again. You thought after that game against the Lightning, they will probably give a little bit of a push to try to get back into the postseason contention. And the funny thing about it, too, is that even though the Flyers are losing games left and right, they're still technically still trying to be in part of that postseason contention with the teams like Detroit and Ottawa, and the list goes on and on for that final playoff spot. And I believe it's the Rangers right now who have that 8th spot in the Metro. So that's going to be something to keep a close eye on too. But like I said, the Flyers lose that one 5-0 on Saturday night against the Hurricanes. And then on Monday night on St. Patrick's Day, you would have thought, okay, the Flyers will could not do much worse on that game. It was a lot better game than they had the previous game, like I alluded to with the Hurricanes. But it felt like the same kind of song and dance once in a while. They had a good couple periods and all that. I think Ivan Fedotov played very, very well. I thought he played one of his best games of the season, gonna admit. But the problem is that usually if you don't score any goals, you're not going to win any of the games, and that's going to be the big story that comes out of it. And I think what the Flyers are trying to do right now is try to make the most out of it, I think, because usually when you try to talk about goals that you haven't scored in the last previous games, and it's almost a week now since the Flyers have scored a goal, that's going to be something to keep a close eye on. So the Lightning the Flyers are trying to do the best they can to get some opportunities on shots on goal, but it's one of the reasons why Andrei Vasilevskiy of the Lightning is one of the best players they had in a long time. And I got to tell you right now, Vasilevskiy is a real, I've seen him for 10 years now, and he continues to dominate every chance he gets. He is a very, very good player up there. I could probably go back a ways when the Flyers took on Tampa Bay, and they had players like Nikolai Javy-Bulin, and the list goes on and on. Even like a Kevin Weeks once in a while, even John Graham. The list goes on and on with that. But the Lightning just have a really good team up there. The same thing with the Hurricanes. They're 2 teams that are going to be on that postseason radar when it comes down to it in the next couple weeks or so. So that's something to keep a close eye on. So Flyers lose 5-0 on Saturday, and they lose 2-0 on Monday night as we now set the stage for this upcoming matchup here tonight. And this is a game that it's going to probably go either Ovechkin's way or it's going to go in the favor of the Flyers' way. Hopefully the Flyers' way, but Ovechkin's still trying. I mean, it's going to try to surprise you because I got an idea for who's trending up and who's trending down topic. So it's going to be a little bit something that the Flyers probably need to have a little bit of a wake-up call in this game here tonight. But like I said, the stat of the day, obviously, like you said, 7. What I brought up with 7, I mean, it's been 2 games, and the Flyers have been outscored by opponents, by the Hurricanes and the Lightning, only by a margin of 7 goals apiece. 5 on Saturday night, and then 2 on Monday night. So the Flyers have got outscored by both opponents, both the Lightning and the Hurricanes, by 7 goals apiece. And yeah, that's a lot of goals to come back from. Obviously, I'm not saying that the Flyers would try to get an opportunity to get back into the competition of postseason contention here tonight. But when I saw this stat, I just thought about this. When I was doing my show prep for this game here tonight, and I said, so the Flyers just got outscored 7 goals in a matter of the last 2 games. And I don't know if it's just a lack of goaltending, the lack of defense, but it has to come into an existence because this team is not playing very, very well. And I think the other thing that really makes me even more bothersome is that the Capitals, who are the best team in the conference right now, as for the Capitals is concerned, they're one of the top teams in the Metropolitan Division. They're one of the best teams in the NHL right now. And Ovechkin continued to chase Gretzky's record, so I would be sure tonight this will be another tall test for the Flyers. And especially even tonight, it doesn't get any better after tonight. So after tonight, they go to Dallas to take on the Stars, and they look very well. The only team that I see the Flyers could probably beat is maybe Chicago on Sunday night when they take on the Blackhawks. And I mean, obviously, unless Connor Bedard has himself a game and he scores like 5 goals against our goaltender, and I guess like Connor Bedard pulls a little bit of a Jonathan Toews or maybe a Patrick Kane, and the list goes on and on about that. But let's get back to this game here tonight because it's a big, big storyline. It's the big storyline in the NHL, and that is the big case here. So for me, before we get into our who's trending up and who's trending down topic, I said trending down. I try to erase that because I want to do something a little bit kind of like the big story, kind of like what you hear about what the anchor of Channel 6 Action News would say, the big story on Action News. So for who's trending up for the Flyers, I mean, it was good to see Fedotov play very well on that game on Monday night. I really thought it was a good matchup for him. But the Flyers just continue not to score goals, and I just alluded to, 7 goals in a matter of that beginning of the road trip, and also 7 goals against Carolina to close out the homestand on Saturday, and also 2 goals against the Lightning on Monday night on St. Patrick's Day. Just something that you have to. I mean, I don't know what to say about, like, if there's anything positive to say about what's trending up for this Flyers team, because there's not a lot to be positive about right now for this orange and black team. And I think for the team that has to play better in this game here tonight, they have to show what they're made of. Kind of been on the fence about John Tortorella's style of play ever since these last couple games. And I'll say something that I didn't think I would actually say about John Tortorella, but you would have thought when the Flyers were starting to struggle this much in these games, you would have thought John Tortorella would call a timeout and try to get this Flyers team to get back and regroup again, and try to tone down try to give them a little bit of a break and try to calm down the agony and also calm down the flow of the game and try to make it come to them. But that's the one thing I'm really bothered by with John Tortorella, to tell you honestly. Like, even when it was like Peter Laviolette a long time ago, he used to call a timeout when the team was really starting to fade a little bit. And I think that's going to be the big storyline here in this game here tonight, because Ovechkin's still chasing Gretzky, so that's going to be the big topic of the game here tonight. So for me, if there's something to be trending up, I would see John Tortorella just try to call a timeout when it's getting really, really intense to try to help this team get back into the right foot. But I mean, that's what's going to happen here tonight, especially with the other guy that's wearing the number 8 in red, and that is Alex Ovechkin. So I say, and instead of trending down, I say who's trending up and who's on, and also the Ovechkin chase. So he's not going to break the record tonight, obviously. He's not going to break the record for maybe a couple more weeks or so, but he's right there. He's right there. And that's going to be a big storyline in this game here tonight, is that how you're going to contain Alexander Ovechkin in this Ovechkin and Gretzky chase in the next couple weeks or so. But, I mean, he could break it probably within the next couple weeks or so. Hopefully, I would hope the Flyers don't play them again before he chases this Gretzky record. Hopefully he beats the Gretzky. Hopefully he beats that record before we face him off again if the Flyers play them again this season. So that's going to be something to keep a close eye on tonight, even though Ovechkin scored .887 against San Jose on Saturday night. I didn't get a chance to read that. I thought Ovechkin didn't chase that goal. He was still chasing, obviously, the Gretzky record, but I didn't see the goals who was scored by in the Capitals win against San Jose on Saturday night. And now he's up to .887. Could probably go up to .888, like his number, 8, 8, and 8. Or 8, probably go up to maybe score a hat trick and go to right to 890. And it'll be, instead of 7 goals shy, he'll be 5 goals shy after it's all said and done. But it's going to be something to keep a close eye on this game here tonight, because before we go one step further, I mean, if you can try to make sure Ovechkin doesn't break that, I mean, like I say, he's not going to break the record tonight. I understand that, but the more he chases this record, the more it's going to sound like that it's going to happen within the next couple weeks or so. So for tonight, it will only be the Ovechkin chase for the Flyers is concerned, and for the Orange and Black too, they have to do whatever they can to get back on track. And the one thing you need to do, especially if you want to try to avoid Ovechkin scoring those goals like you do in the Ovechkin chase, he's going to be one guy to keep a close eye on. Obviously, Pierre-Luc Dubois is one guy that's really good for this team. There's a lot of good players on this Capitals team that will make a lot of postseason contention when it comes down to it. But like I said, if you can contain that big guy that was that number 8 and also try to avoid him to score a couple goals in the chase for 800 to beat Gretzky's record, it's going to be something to talk about more than ever when we get closer and closer to puck drop and what they look like here in this game here tonight. All right, let's get into our injury report before we get out of here. So this injury report is basically the same as it was on Saturday night. I apologize for not being on Monday night. I had a little bit of technical difficulties right before the beginning of the show, so that's why you didn't see my ugly mug on Monday night. So that's something to talk about here. But all that joking aside, instead, the injury report is basically the same as it was on Saturday night and the last previous night. Obviously, Rasmus Ristolainen still out now with that upper body injury. And I would be sure that would probably shut him down probably within the next probably couple of weeks or so. And also Garnett Hathaway is still going to miss some time with that injury, so I would expect him to be shut down as well due to that horrible, horrible play that happened a few weeks ago against the Penguins. And I guess he's on the road to recovery, but I guess they don't want to try to risk it if he's not playing well. And I guess Rasmus Ristolainen had a little bit of a setback at practice the last couple of days, so I would be sure he will. I mean, he's not in the lineup tonight, but hopefully he'll be back for that Dallas and Chicago series. But it doesn't look. It's not like it's. It was like, in the words of somebody, I think it was John Tortorella or Bill Metzler put up, or somebody from the Flyers insiders put up there, said that he was a little bit banged up after that play. I mean, after the last couple games. So I hope to see him back very, very soon. But if they have to go into another direction here and just shut him down for the rest of the season, that'll be understandable as well, depending on if the Flyers are just completely out of playoff contention and they're just going to be like, you know what? The season's over. We're going to just shut down Garnett Hathaway and Rasmus for the rest of the season. All right. Speaking of, there we go. Sorry about that. Instead of talking about some positivity, let's talk some good news and bad news. Hopefully, some good news tonight from our goaltender's sake, and that's our starting goaltender matchup for this game. So, in goal tonight for the Flyers, it will be Sam Ersson once again. Yes, Ersson back in goal for the Orange and Black after Fedota played very well on Monday night. I would expect him to be back in the lineup here tonight for this game. But no, they're going to go with Ersson once again, and his record is continuing to drop every single time. Hopefully, he can get win number 20 tonight against Washington, but sometimes you have to worry about what the circumstances is about that. So, speaking of Sam Ersson, his record this season is 19-13-4. I wish it was 19-3. 19-13-4 this season, and has a goals against average of 3.02. And for the Capitals, it will be Charlie Lindgren in goal once again for the Capitals. I think I saw Logan Thompson in goal a couple nights ago for the Capitals, so they go with Lindgren here tonight for this matchup here, and his record is similar to actually not similar to Ersson, but I guess he's their backup. I don't know who's their starting goaltender or who's their backup. I would expect he's either their starter or their backup. But all that aside, he's 14-11-3 this season and has a goals against average of 2.67. So Ersson in goal for the Flyers and Lindgren in goal for the Caps. Before we get out of here, I would say my predictions in this game here tonight. I would say, okay, this will probably be a get right game for the Flyers, but just plain and simple, just play like it. Just show me that you still want. I mean, this to me has to show me one thing for sure right now. I don't know if they're going to be in the postseason content. This will be a long, far-fetched shot away from getting into postseason contention. So if they're not in the postseason, I want to see more players out here tonight if they want to still be incapable of trying to play to the standards that they once did. I just want to see a better effort here tonight. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. The last two games were unacceptable. I kind of went off the deep end on Saturday on the post-game show, and I was like saying to myself, if you can show me a little bit of capability and also show me a little bit of just show me that, like, these young players, just show me what you're made of. If you can't stop Ovechkin here tonight, then it's going to be game over. And the next thing you know, I'm going to be on this post-game show again right afterwards, and I'm going to be having a little bit of a hissy fit because the Flyers didn't play well again. I just want to say that just show me that just these young players, show me what you're made of. I mean, look, if you don't win tonight, obviously, at least some of these young players will show me what they're made of and what they're going to be looking like in future references. I mean, yeah, Ovechkin's going to be a problem. Many of the players, they're going to be a problem as well. So also keep a close eye on too for Tom Wilson, because Tom Wilson, and I can imagine Nick Deslauriers could drop the gloves here tonight, because Deslauriers is really still trying to drop the gloves with somebody, and would be pretty sure Tom Wilson will be one guy to keep a close eye on in this game here tonight, here against the Capitals in the nation's capital. All right, that's going to wrap up our portion of the the Hockey Night on Board Flyers pregame show. But remember to stay tuned after the game. Speaking of Third Line John postgame show, there's a couple episodes left in this season. Remember to stay tuned after the game for the Third Line John Flyers postgame show. Myself, alongside Joey Marks, got you covered on this night. So I will be back hopefully on Saturday night, and hopefully I'll have a better outcome of this game when they take on Dallas that day. That's a matinee game at 2:00 against the Dallas Stars that day. That will be at American Airlines Center, so they're headed to Big Day to take on the Stars. And there will be another afternoon game right after that as they ship off to Chicago to take on the Blackhawks at United Center. But until then, that's going to wrap it up here for the Hockey Night on Board Flyers pregame show. And I'll see you back here for the postgame show. And this is James Scorza saying thanks for watching, and thanks for everybody chiming in. Until then, we'll see you back here for the postgame show. Have a good night, everybody, and enjoy the March Madness too while you're at it. And we'll see you back here for the post game show. Have a good night, everybody.